היי, איזה כיף שהצטרפתם היום, אני ממש שמחה. אנחנו נתחיל את הוובינר עם רוברט שמין, שהוא מיליונר אמריקאי, יזם נדל"ן, סופר ועוד הרבה דברים, ובהחלט מאוד כבוד מאוד גדול שהוא הסכים להתארח כאן. ושאר הוובינר הולך להיות באנגלית, מתנצלת מראש, אין לי דרך לעשות פה כתוביות סימולטני, כמובן תשאלו שאלות והכל. אז אני עכשיו אצרף את רוברט ונעבור לאנגליש. Hi Robert, how are you? Shalom, so excited to have you here.
כיסת עברית, מה קורה? מה שלומך?
אני בסדר, ואתה?
הכל בסדר, בסדר גמור, תודה.
I keep looking at the pool at the house you have behind you, and I'm reminded of the house we had in Mexico. And
This is
I miss it.
Mexicano, but I'm in Medellin, Colombia. Hola, ¿qué tal?
Oh, I wish that it's winter here and it's cold, and I don't love it.
Oh no. It's winter here in Medellin. It's always the same temperature, 19 to 22 every day.
Oh, that's great.
Perfect
So,
weather.
could you tell the people here that don't know a little bit about who you are, so they'll have a background? I told them a bit in Hebrew, but for the English speakers.
So first of all, welcome. Thank you for having me. Or it's so good to see you, and welcome everybody. And first of all, when I'm in your place watching a webinar, I want to learn stuff that I can make money, do better now. So that's what I'll be providing you. I'd also love to hear your questions later. I'm a nice Jewish boy from Nashville, Tennessee, a Jewish redneck. I've been coming to Israel since I've been 16. And
We're supposed to be in Israel now.
Had my ticket, had my airplane, was going to the airport, had special permission from your prime minister to come, and they shut the airport or something, or changed the rules or whatever. So first of all, I hope everyone's healthy and happy. And I'm usually in Israel every 90 days for years. We have, I think, 1,800 Israeli students closing, buying between 200 and 500 properties a month here in the United States using what I'm about to teach you. I started when I was 29 years old. I had no money. I was broke. I came from nice Russian grandparents like some of you who survived the pogroms and left Europe, thank God, and taught me from fear. Don't start your own business. It's dangerous. If you don't have money, we don't have any money. We're broke. It takes money to make money. Rich people are in their own club. We're not in it. Never borrow money. It's evil, wrong, dangerous.
Yeah, I've been taught a lot of that too.
Go work for somebody. If you don't like it, work more. Go to school. If you don't like it, go to more school. I had dyslexia, so I got thrown out of school, and suffer. And if you suffer enough, then when you're 70 or 80, you can retire and have fun for a year, then you die. I didn't like that program. Very quickly, when I was 29 years old. Yeah, I met a mentor in Nashville who, like me, never finished high school, no rich family, no money to speak of, no credit. And he had over 120 properties, real estate, making millions of dollars, taking 6 months vacation a year. And that's what got me. I know you like to travel, Aura. I'm like, I know I'll never make money. I was working in restaurants, but if I could do what he does and maybe get a vacation, just a little time off, maybe that was my motivation. Everyone has their motivation and their fears. And I borrowed some money from my cousin to pay for his mentoring program. Like most people, I did nothing for the first year, just thought, wondered, worried, analyzed. And after a year, I bought my first property without any of my own money. And then I realized it worked, because until you do it, you won't believe it. So I don't expect you to believe anything I say until you do it. Correct?
Yeah, I agree.
And real quick, I bought 12 houses in 10 months using other people's money, which I'll show you how to do it step by step. And now I've been involved in over 1,500 real estate transactions. I teach people. I've written 18 books, and I'm having fun. And
that's the most important part.
It's mostly real estate. And contrary to what most people believe, I'm still very active. This month, in the last 3 weeks, I bought a hotel in Puerto Rico. I've got 4 houses I bought in Florida where everyone says there are no deals. We got them 60 cents on the dollar, 40% below market. I'm doing deals here in Medellin. I've done them in Mexico, Costa Rica, Israel, Nicaragua, Panama, Spain, France, Israel, Canada. This system works pretty much everywhere, even in today's hot market. The only problem is in Israel, there's only one problem with the real estate market. Too many
only
Israelis. Too many Israelis. And I say that with love because most Israelis, I don't make generalizations or positive, are very smart, very intense. And the beautiful thing about the American real estate market is I'm American, so I can say it. We're all not so smart.
I used to live in the States, and I concur. I mean, I was a teenager, so they're not the smartest either way. But
where did you live?
We lived in St. Louis and in Atlanta.
In St. Louis, where? In Creve Coeur, Ladue?
Wait, I was a kid. I think it was.
We're managing 300.
I do not remember.
We're managing 300 rental properties in St. Louis.
Wow. Okay. So all I remember is that there was a really cool arch there and the Coca-Cola Museum. That's what I remember. I was about 10. So, so that's it. So we have people, if you're here listening live, you can feel free to ask questions. Robert here teaches incredible courses for people that have no background in real estate. That's his specialty, and turning them into real estate entrepreneurs. So if you could do that for like thousands of people before, you could probably do that for you as well. And we have promised here people 11 ways of purchasing real estate without having startup capital, without having any money. So that sounds very cool. I'd love to, I want to buy a piece of real estate now. I always used money for that. So I'd love to learn how to do it without actually using money.
And by the way, I'm here to help everybody. I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs, whether they're writers, business people, high tech, low tech. And these principles work whether you do real estate or business. Business is business. Money is money. Geld, kesef, right? So once you learn this stuff, you'll never forget it. So I'll start with my sad story. When I got started in real estate, I was convinced I couldn't do it. And I found a property below market, and I put it under contract. In America, we have like 30 days to close. You don't have to buy it immediately. And I went to my bank, and I gave my social security number, which is 410-906098, my personal social security number, to just shock everybody.
Is that okay to say that out loud?
I just did. I do it all the time. Who cares? I have no fear. 410-906098, Robert Shemin. The banker put it in the computer, and she said, "You don't exist." I was 29 years old. So I had no money. I was working in restaurants, couldn't pay my rent, couldn't borrow money, no credit. My parents taught me never to borrow money. In America, what's worse than bad credit is no credit. I know in Israel, you have your own banking system with a credit system. So I went to my mentor because I love to be right. Said, I have this property under contract. I can't buy it. I have no cash. I can barely pay my own rent. And I went to the bank, and the bank laughed at me and said, "We won't loan you a penny. I can't do real estate." What do most people think? How do I buy a house in Israel? I don't have $1.5 million shekels to buy a 1-bedroom in Tel Aviv, a small 1-bedroom. I don't have the 800,000 shekels to buy something in Beersheba. How do I buy real estate? How do I start a business? Stop. Let's talk about this. I feel funny speaking to Israelis about raising money. And we have 11 ways. I'm about to go into the first one, money partners. All right. Israel, the headquarter, the startup nation, the capital of high-tech business exits. What do all your Israelis friends who started Waze or Playtech, what do? Number one, they come up with an idea. They write a business plan. Number two, I know these people. They showed the business plan to 100, maybe 200 funds, rich people, poor people, friends, relatives. And I can assure you that 99% of the people that looked at those business plans said, Waze, what a stupid idea. No one will buy that. Facebook, Microsoft, Playtech. No one ever buy that. But somebody said, maybe there's something here. I'll put some money in. I'll buy some shares. I'll lend you money. I'll be your startup, your VC, your venture capital. 98% of all the startups in Israel are with other people's money. What do? They make a business plan. They show it to a lot of people. Be prepared. You're going to hear a lot of no's. And that's how they do it. So I went to my mentor and I said, I can't do real estate. He said, well, you're right. And I said, thank you. I'm a guy. I love to be right. And by the way, as I've got
women love that too, by the way.
Yeah, but I think the guys sometimes a little more. Some of the women know what I'm talking about. When I was younger, I just had to be right. I didn't care about anything. And to be right, someone else has to be wrong. Right now, I don't care who's right, who's wrong. I just want you and me to be healthy, happy, rich, enjoying, giving, being of service. I could care less who's right and who's wrong. But I had to be right back then. So my mentor was a tough coach, said, you're right. I go, thank you. I felt good. Ego. He said, whatever you think, you're right. Please write that down. If you think raising money's hard, you're right. If you think raising money's easy, you're right. If you think you can't do it, you're right. If you think you can't do it, you're correct. You're always right. Only one person can change the way you think. Not my good friend Tony Robbins, who's really good at it, but you. So all I ask for the next 35, 40 minutes is to open your mind and not have to be right or wrong or whatever. Turn off the critical factor. So here's what my mentor said. Robert.
I'm just going to go ahead and say that you're right. I believe that what you're saying completely. Whatever you believe, it's the truth for you.
He said, I'm going to change. If you change the question, everything changes. I said, what do you mean the question? I can't do real estate. I have no money. He said, ask, how can I find the money? How can I find the credit? How can I start? How can I get it? I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, what you don't have, find someone that has it. I said, well, listen, my family is broker than me. My friends are broker than me. Nobody has money or credit. That won't work. He said, okay. So here's an exercise he made me do, and I'd like you to do it. Whatever business you want to go in. He said, write 5 people, no filtering, no thinking, that are successful, that are smart, that maybe have some money or credit, but that's all. Don't think, I don't like them. They don't know me. They're too smart. I said, well, I don't know anybody like that. That's how negative I was back then. He said, okay, do you have a doctor? I said, yep. My doctor, or you'll love this, is Dr. Witherspoon. His daughter is Reese Witherspoon, the famous actress. She's from Nashville. Little trivia for you. I said, Dr. Witherspoon, he's been my doctor for 10 years. Write him down. I said, who does your hair? Who owns the hair salon you go to? Oh, John Williams. He owns that. He's pretty rich. Who's your landlord? Who's your boss? Who's your professor from school that you like? Who's someone from the church, synagogue, mosque, whatever you're into, that is successful? Who sells you drugs, legal or illegal? They have money, right? So I started making a list of these people. He said, don't think. Step 2, raising money. And then we'll get into this, a bunch of other ways.
Am I to understand that your business advice is to raise money from your drug dealer?
I didn't say that, but I said, don't filter out.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that.
He said, just write people with money and credit, no filtering. Correct? Always follow the laws. That's what my mother said. But, no filtering. He's no good. She's good. They're too smart. Everybody filters. Who owns where you get your car fixed? Who owns the hair salon? Who owns your favorite restaurant, your bar, your rabbi, whatever, And I wrote a list. I said, what do I do now? He said, you're going to make a business plan. In a real estate, we call it a one sheet. The first house I bought is 465658 Forest Ridge Drive. It's national, not Tel Aviv. At that time, it was worth $85,000. I called 2 or 3 realtors. That's the value. A few phone calls. I could buy it from the government foreclosure from HUD, HUD.gov. It's still active for $42,500. It needed work. I said 3 contractors because I'm not a contractor. I don't paint. They all said it's about $2,500 to fix it up nice. And I'll rent for $1,500 a month. It was 2 doors. If you don't like it, you could sell for $85,000 and make $40,000. I put under contract. It's a little different than Israel. I had no risk. And I went and he taught me, he goes, the first rule of raising money is never ask for money. Or anyone listening, you ever had this? Your friend, your relative says, I got the best deal. You can't lose, a network marketing company. You're going to put 5,000 in. It's going to be great. We're going to get rich. There's no risk. Let's do it now. And in Israel, my favorite saying is, I don't want to be a flyer.
Yeah.
I say it right?
Yeah, flyer.
And you've had that happen to you. Your friends or relatives have approached you, tried to sell you, convince you, force you to put some money in something, a hot stock, a Bitcoin, a network marketing. And how did you feel? Did you like it?
I did not like it one bit.
Let me
I
tell
did
you
not
what
like
you're
the
thinking.
network marketing and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the minute they come with you to that, to put the money in or do this, you're thinking Iron Dome. Warning, warning, danger, shoot it down, stop it. Where do I run? Where's the exit? So my mentor taught me, never ask for money, always be honest, high integrity. In our project Acts we're very high integrity. Relationship comes first. Truth, honesty, integrity. We're not perfect, but high integrity. Says, listen, Ora, you're intelligent. Shlomo, you're a friend of mine. Orit, you're got a lot of experience. I wonder if you have 15 minutes. 15 minutes. I'd like your opinion. I'd like your opinion. Opinion about what? I'm starting a new business. I'm doing some real estate. I found a great opportunity. Does that have to do with money? Not really. You know, just like your opinion. I got 15 minutes with people I knew, I didn't know, that were friends, not friends, that were successful, because successful people make decisions. And unsuccessful people hate to make decisions. I showed them my little plan. And everybody who I showed it said, wow, that's a great deal. Like, you can make some money. I like that real estate. But most of them said, I hate real estate. I hate this. I don't do that. Not for me. And one guy said, listen, what a great deal. You have to verify it. He asked some questions. And he went to the bank. He had great credit, which I had none. He borrowed the money. It wasn't his money. It was the bank's money. I bought my property, and the lawyer who closes real estate in America drew up an agreement. If I do everything right, what I'm supposed to do on time, pay the bills, collect the rent, find the deals, I pay all the bills, we split 50-50. So he got 50% of this great deal just for using his credit. Now, right now I have about 27 money partners. Some just want an interest rate, you know, like they make zero at Bank Hapolim or 1 or 2%. They want 6% or 8% secured by real estate. So if I disappear, they still have the real estate. Some people put the money in and they want half the deal, 60% of the deal, 40% of the deal. Some want X amount. Every deal's different, but do the deal. Because for me, 50% is better than nothing. I had no money, no credit. So I don't know if you could show that list. My way that I raised 95% of my money are money partners. Now, most of you buy real estate, and me too. We'll get on this. So I'm on number 3. We have over 11 ways to find money. Some are simple, some are complicated. But before we get to that, Ora, let me explain. Yes. Most people have 2 ways to buy real estate, whether their own house. One, cash, geld, pesos, kesef, whatever you want to call it. You know, I have $200,000. I'll buy a very small house in Nashville. Or I have 50,000 shekels, and I'll go to the bank. And if I have really good credit, maybe the bank will give me a loan, maybe not. And that's it. And I always ask this question, who taught you to raise money? Who taught you how to start a business? Well, for me, it was my broke family and my fearful grandparents who said, never start a business. Don't invest. It's all risky. Don't borrow money. If you can't pay for cash, you don't get it. So that's what we have to deal with, all the fears and programming in the head. So the way the Israelis do all their startups, 80, 90%, and I do 97% of my real estate because I was taught that way. And thank God I had no money or no credit. I use money partners. I find a deal, and I'm literally doing that every day. And you can go on LinkedIn. You can go on Facebook and find people that have money that want to be your partners. It's really not that hard. There's lots of money out there for different groups, whether it's high tech, real estate, commercial, hotels. You go and see Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups of private money, privatemoneypartners.com, connectedinvestors.com. They've given out $3 billion of investing. There are people that are saying, bring us your deal, bring us your plan. And if it's a good plan and a good deal, there's a chance we might invest in it. So whether it's you private funds or you go out to the groups, lots of money's partners out there. That's how I do most of my deals. I'll go to number 6, if that's okay. And again, it's a numbers game. You're not going to go to the one person. They're going to like, oh, here's all my money, take it. And the investor must be protected. Another rule of investing is I never touch the investor's money. I'm not good at accounting. So if you send money to my bank account, I may make a mistake. So it goes to the lawyer's account. The lawyer puts in the real estate. There's an accountant who pays everybody. Everything's
that's a good rule of thumb for investors as well. Don't send the money straight to someone else. Always to a lawyer's account or something. That's good for both sides.
How many people know someone who said, well, this guy owes me money. He didn't pay me. He said he don't have it. His wife, husband spent it. They lost it. Something happened. We've all heard those stories. So I use
my brother-in-law.
It's funny how most of the money disasters, the problems have the same last names as us, correct? Or as we say in
I didn't change my last name, so thankfully no.
So that's one way. I would say about 50 to 60% of our Israeli investors use money partners. Another way, and I'll go to number 10, I'm just jumping around having fun, are hard money lenders. Now, this is very interesting. You have them in Israel, but not so much. Israel's a very unique country. But remember, I'm operating in almost every other country in the world. These systems work. We have students in Russia and Africa, Ivory Coast, Europe doing the same system. So you can go to Google right now if you want. You can do it on your phone and put in hard money lender. And I'll explain what they are. And pick a city in America. Pick Orlando. Pick Detroit. Pick Nashville. Pick Little Rock, Arkansas. And type in hard money lender, whatever city you want in America. And literally 500,000, they're all not real, funds will come up saying, we will loan you money, even to non-U.S. citizens. These are funds, special funds, not banks, not mortgage companies, that loan to investors like me and you on the real estate. They don't care so much about me or you. They care about the deal, the numbers, the real estate. They loan on land, houses, hotels, shopping centers. And every lender is a little different. They'll loan between 60 and 90%. They'll give you most of the money.
But they don't care killer interest rates. Am I correct? I remember I looked into that.
Well, that's what they call it, hard money. You're correct. So here in Colombia, they have a lending system called gota gota, blood drop, blood drop. Like if you don't pay, they kill you.
Okay, that's
so that's fair. What a lot of people. Yeah, mafia, 30% interest a year. I shouldn't say this. One of my distant relatives was in the mafia, and my father said, I don't like that uncle of yours. He's no good. He's in the mafia. The Jewish mafia. Nice, not the Italian. And my uncle, I'm not going to mention his name, came to me. I said, he said, my dad said, you're a loan shark. You're a mafia lender. You're bad. And you charge high interest rates like you're thinking right now with the hard money lenders. And my uncle, I'll never forget what he said. I was 12. He said, I don't charge interest. I go, what do you mean you don't charge interest? He goes, if I loan $50,000, they pay me back $100. There's no interest. And everybody pays me back. So what does that do? A lot of people think hard money lenders charge high interest rates. They charge a little bit more in the banks. Right now, we're getting rates between 6 and 9%. For an investor, that's a good rate. Now, if you're going to live in a house in Israel, I know it's 2 or 3 or 4. In America, if you're going to live, you get 2, 3, 4, 5% for 30 years. But we're not living there. And it doesn't matter the interest rate because we're only borrowing the money for 6 months, maybe a year, to buy it, to fix it, and sell it. So the interest rate doesn't matter, but it's not that high. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8% usually. I'm a hard money lender. And if they don't pay you, take the property. So they'll give you 60, 90% of the money. And a lot of them will deal with Israelis who aren't U.S. citizens, who don't have a U.S. social security number. All you need is a U.S. company, which takes about a day to make. You literally can call a lawyer. We have them, and get a company, an LLC, in a day. You buy the property. They give you 60, 90% of the money. God forbid if you don't pay, cancel, cancel, cancel. They take the property back. It's never really happened. I've taken one property back in 15 years. Thousands, tens of thousands of lenders that want to give you money. And the interest rates are not that high. They used to be, or like
if you take it for short term, that makes sense. The interest rate doesn't matter as much.
What's beautiful, if you want to rent it, which I like to rent, I like to buy, fix, and rent. And nobody wants to give a loan on a house we buy that has no doors, the walls have holes in it, it needs painting, it looks horrible. The funds will, the hard money lenders, just loan to investors. So when you fix it up in 6 months and say, you know what, I don't want to sell it. I want to rent it for 20 years or 10 years. They will give you a really good 20, 30-year loan with a nice interest rate to rent it once it's fixed up. So the hard money lenders are great. There's tons of them out there. And I'd say about 30, 40% of our students, including me, use hard money lenders to buy the property, fix it, sell it, pay it off, or to rent it. It's not to live in. And a lot of them, not all of them, will deal with non-U.S. citizens. They don't really care. You don't need credit. So that's why the second biggest way, there's a lot of funds. You go to Connected Investors. You go to Google hard money lenders. We have relationships who know us and our systems who give us really great rates and take good care of us because we do so much business with them, but they're out there. So that's the second way. A third way, and I'll take questions in a minute. Hope this makes sense to you.
It makes sense. I'll sum it up. We talked about money partners. It basically means finding people you know who have money and you'll split the profit with them. And we have hard money lenders. Well, in Israel, credit is not yet such a big thing. It's starting to become. And hard money lenders, companies and people that are basically lending money to investors for real estate deals.
That's right. And you can Google it. I mean, when we do our seminars and our test drives, we just Google hard money lenders, whatever city you want to buy in, and boom, there's funding. It's people go, what? And that's why a lot of the Israelis love buying in America because it's a giant market. We have 6.5 million homes that'll sell this year. And number two, it's a very fractured market. And number three, the funding is amazing. I can't get that funding in Israel or Colombia or Britain. America's got amazing funding options for investors and for homeowners too. If you just want to buy your own home in Florida or New York, just in case. So another specialty of mine is 6, seller owner financing. Now everyone in Israel will say, Robert, we will not do this in Israel. It doesn't happen.
I've read about it, and I that's the exact thought I had when I read about this.
Right. Well, system. We have students, not a lot, who did it in Israel. It's not common. And by the way, in America and in Colombia, you think Israel's so special and different, which it is. I love it. It's the same everywhere. If I go to 100 realtors and 100 parents in Colombia and Miami and say, I want to do owner financing, they're going to go Israeli and say, you can't do it. Who's going to do that? That's stupid.
I think you're going to need a minute to explain what that means first.
Let me go what it is. So 50% of the real estate in my country, America, USA, has no loan, debt, or mortgage on it. It's all the same to me. During the crisis in 2008, 50% of the real estate had no loan, debt, or mortgage on it. That's houses. About 65% of the commercial property, apartments, shopping centers, warehouses, have no debt on it. The owner bought it 10, 20 years ago for cash, never got a loan. No. So what happens in the real world? So Aura, let's say Where do you live in Yerushalayim, in Tel Aviv? Where do you live? I forget.
Ramat Gan.
I
Near
love
Tel
Ramat
Aviv.
Gan.
Okay.
I know Ramat Gan. It's beautiful. So let's say 7 years ago, you bought a nice 2-bedroom apartment in Ramat Gan for $1 million shekels, whatever. And now it's 2 million, correct?
Probably, yeah.
Right. So you sell it to Shlomo. And Shlomo goes to Bank Hapolim and says, listen, I'm buying Ora's apartment for 2 million shekels. I have a deposit and I need a loan. So they give Shlomo a loan for 1.65 million shekels. He puts the deposit down $500,000 and he buys your apartment. And you pay off your loan with bank discount or benl'leumi. And what's happened? The banks, and I love banks, took your money and they loaned it back to you. And when you put the money in the bank, they pay you nothing, correct?
Yeah, that's how bank works.
Right. So all of a sudden, Ora's smart. You know she's smart. She says, wait a minute. I'm selling my house to Shlomi, and I'm going to put my 2 million shekels in the bank, and they're going to loan it to Shlomi and pay me nothing, 1%, 0.5%, whatever they pay, and charge Shlomi 2, 3, 4%, whatever they charge, for example. Okay? So Ora or me says, wait a minute. I'll do exactly what the bank's doing. I'll hire the same lawyer. The lawyer will draw the note, mortgage, debt, the documents with the stamp, with the rabbanut, everything. We'll give Shlomi a loan for 20 years at 3, 4, 5%. Shlomi will pay me the interest instead of the bank. And if Shlomi doesn't pay the bank, what does the bank do? They call the lawyer and they take the apartment. If they don't pay Ora or Robert or the owner or the seller, what does the seller do? Calls the lawyer, says, I have an agreement. You wrote it up. Shlomi didn't pay me. Take the house back. Now, in America, it's very easy to take the house back. So instead of the seller getting paid cash from the bank, the seller gives the loan. The seller makes the mortgage. The seller collects the insurance. I mean, all a bank does is 10 people put money in a bank here and 10 people go to the bank and borrow the money. And the bank is wholesaling money, your money, and they're charging interest. They pay you 0.5% to put the money in and they charge them 4% to take it out. That's all the bank does. And the banks, most of it is secured by real estate. So in America, you can go to Google, you can go to websites like Craigslist, type in a city, and there are sellers who say, I want to finance it. I want to give you a 10, 20, 30-year loan. I want to be the bank. I want to make the interest. I'm older. I don't want all the cash because if I get the cash, I put it in the bank, they pay me nothing. So the seller, the owner does it. Make sense?
Yeah. Kochavi is asking, what about regulation? Why would regulation have any part of it? You can
the
loan
regulation
people money.
is if you have Now, I'm not going to go out and advertise, do this 50,000 times like the bank does. Then you got to get a bank charter. I can't take deposits, but I can sell my property for cash and I can sell for owner financing. There's very little regulation on it. Actually, the regulation protects me to make sure I get paid. So, we use a lawyer. The lawyer does everything legal with the documents and the stamps, just like when the bank makes a loan. So
I do gotta say, as the owner of this hypothetical scenario, if somebody doesn't get a mortgage from the bank, I wouldn't want to finance it to them either. Or
I do it all the time.
I'd charge higher interest rates or something like that.
Of course, and you have the security of the real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you know what you're doing, you can't lose money. You have security.
I have another question.
Sure.
If you want to take questions from the audience. Adar is saying, I took a real estate course in the United States and I realized that the way is very long and difficult regardless of this country and while having mediocre English. Does Robert have a way to get results? I thought that was a question you'd like.
That's all we were focused on, results. And by the way, I'm not a realtor. I've never taken a real estate exam. 99% of realtors in America and Israel are non-investors. That's completely different business.
I know.
They're retail real estate. They don't teach investing in the real estate realtor schools. Maybe they do a little bit. I don't know. They teach a lot of rules and regulations, which I probably don't know the words either. In real estate, there's one result. It's called closing. What do we close? What do our students close? What are they making? That's all we're focused on, is ethically, with integrity, showing people how to close real estate deals. For beginners, their first deal, that's the hardest. For me, it was. Then your second deal, then your third deal. Hope that answers the question, but I'm not a realtor. I use realtors, to sell houses, but that's completely different business.
The question was if they have mediocre English, how to get there? Because even if you use realtors, you'll have to talk to them in English.
Oh, great. So let me explain that. So we have 7 students. You can go on our website, Robert Shemin, Project X Israel. One is named Tina, who don't speak. They're deaf mute. Mm-hmm. So can they do real estate? They can't talk and they can't hear. Tina's closed 30 deals with us. Wow. Correct. We offer to get her a translator. I speak a little sign language. Thank you. We offer to get her a translator to call America because she can't talk. And she said, I don't need it. She's like, no. And what she does, everything through text and email. Now, what's really interesting, you can call any real estate company in any big city in America, in Miami, New York, even Nashville, Los Angeles, and call the big real estate company or the bank and say, Israeli, does anyone speak Hebrew? And someone will speak Hebrew. Okay? There's 100,000 Israelis in South Florida. There's Israelis now in almost every real estate company in Nashville, which is the most, small city. So I teach Spanish speakers and Russians and French speakers in Africa how to buy in America. And they say, well, I don't speak English. No big deal. Nobody in America speaks English. It's a country of immigrants. In most cities, Spanish is the #1 language. The Russians you can call Chabad, Jewish Federation, and say, I need a Hebrew-speaking contractor, realtor, banker, lender. They'll probably have them. So the question is, how do you find it? Our Spanish speakers can call any bank, real estate company in the world. Press 1 for Spanish, 2 for English. Our French speakers find people. And the Russians, they call the big cities, Atlanta, Miami, New York. Hey, Roski, I need the Russian. At Keller Williams and Remax, they'll say, Svetlana, Igor, Russian. We have. Now, if you're doing business in Bald Knob, Arkansas, there's not a lot of Hebrew and Russian speakers. But any city with over 100,000 people, they're there. How's that?
All right. That's incredibly great to know. I love it. All right, let's talk about more of where's the money. We've talked about money partners. We've talked about hard money lenders.
Get your cousin who speaks English to do all the calling for you. We have a student here in Columbia who's been here 10 years who speaks no Spanish, who's bought like 40 properties, John Rayner, and he has a translator. He pays someone $50 or whatever when he closes the deal to translate for him. So there's a way to do it if you want. And if you don't want to do it, you'll find all the reasons not to. So seller owner financing. So I'm here in my house. This is 15,000 square feet. What is that? 150 meters? Or 1,500 meters?
Do not know. Never got the American measurement system.
So this is seller. So I buy a lot of my properties seller owner financing, not only to live in, but also for investing. So I live for free. I've always lived for free the last 10 years. So I'll give this as an example. You go on YouTube and look up Robert Shemin Pablo Escobar house. I bought one of his old homes, owner financing. So this house is worth $2 million US that I'm in. It's 14 bedrooms, 8 baths. We have a farm and I'm in the best neighborhood. And the owner says, I want $2 billion. I said, you're crazy. It needs work. We find motivated sellers. I said, what's the rent on it? She said, well, rent's for about $5,000 a month. This is Columbia, not Tel Aviv. Every market's different. And I said, well, it needs work. It needs to be painted. The pool didn't work. It was really in pretty bad shape. I said, what I'll do is I'm going to buy it for $1.2 million. We negotiated, so I got a great deal. She was motivated. She has too much money. That's her motivation. She has like 7 houses and $200 million, the press said.
We don't like that kind of motivation.
That's a motivation, believe it or not. Some people just have too much money. And you're saying, well, I wouldn't sell my house for below market, but not everyone's you. We look for highly motivated sellers. She didn't care. It was disgusting. It needed work. No one really lived here for 12 years. Whatever. Everybody has their own motivation. You have to get out of your head. So she says, well, I want 1.2 cash. I said, what do you do with the cash? That's the best question. What are you going to do with the cash for owner financing? Everyone says, I want cash. I want money. What are you going to do with it? If they say, listen, I need to buy another property, I have to have this cash, they need it. She said, I'm going to put it in the bank. I said, great. What does Bank Columbia pay you? She goes, 1.5%. I said, I'll pay you 3, double. She goes, what? So I said, we'll do a 20-year loan at 3%, secured by the house. You'll hire the same lawyer that Bank of Columbia. It's my law firm, Reserve, who did the paperwork. And they did the owner financing. Then she said, I want a big down payment like the bank. I said, no, the house needs work. So I'm going to fix the house up. God forbid if I don't make a payment, you get the house fixed up. That's my down payment. And I'll use the down payment to fix the house. So I put 1 month's rent down as a deposit. About my payments, I think $5,500. So I got an owner financing, and everyone in Columbia said, no one does owner financing. You can't do it. It's impossible. You have to educate yourself and educate the sellers. And not every seller will do it, but I've done it here. I've done it in Europe. I've done it in America. The seller, instead of taking the cash and putting it in the bank, ask them what they can do with the cash.
Have you done it in Tel Aviv? That's the real question.
We've had students do it in Tel Aviv, absolutely. In Beersheba, absolutely. Yes. It's not common. Why? Because Israelis are tough. But it has been done, absolutely. You do with land, apartments, hotels. But in America, there's people that advertise it. Seller owner financing. And you can negotiate with them. So you can go and look it up. So that's another one. So that's one of my specialties. And I'll do another really crazy one, which people in Israel are going to just not accept and go nuts and say you can't do it. And this is how my mentor got started. So seller owner financing, instead of the bank making you a mortgage, the seller makes you a mortgage. If you don't pay the bank takes it back. If you don't pay the seller takes it back. I have sold property to people with not good credit, and it's their problem. I don't want to do this. They didn't pay. I took the house back and sold it again. They lived there for a few years. They're better off. I got my good interest rate. I made my profits, and I take the house back. I don't want to do that, but I've had to do it. Over the, when you do this a lot, that will happen. Just like the banks, sometimes I take it back. And I tell the owners, don't let the banks make all the money in real estate. You can do the loan with the same lawyer. So that's seller owner financing. Make sense?
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Yeah, let's do
here's
the creative ones.
Okay, here's a crazy one. Okay. And by the way, it's on, we have 25 ways to actually do this. So this isn't even on here. It's a number like 18. And this is take over, go down a little bit. Wow, I don't see it. Where is it? Subject to. God, there's so many of them. So that's ways to find deals. That's okay.
Where's the money?
We'll go back to the, okay. Let's go to the first 11. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's one that's not on here, but it's one I do a lot. This is how my mentor actually got started. And when you first hear this, you're going to say it's illegal. You can't do it. It's wrong. Why? Because when people have never done something, they all say you can't do it. Or every time I go to Israel, even my Jewish friends say, listen, when you land in Israel, you're going to die. They're going to shoot you at the airport. There's missiles. Don't go there. Why do they say that? They've never been. I've been in Israel like 90 times. I've never had a missile land on me. I feel safer in Israel than I do in Miami.
I used to get a question when I was a kid. People used to ask me if I rode a camel to school.
Yeah. When I come to Medellin, everyone says, listen, they're going to kidnap you in the airport or shoot you by the time you get out. I've been here 17 years. I haven't been shot or kidnapped yet. It's super safe. People are basing it off of the bad news or some 80s movies, you know, whatever. So remember that. Who are you listening to? Only listen to experts who do it. So my mentor, I said, how did you get started in real estate with no money? Very simple story to demonstrate taking over a mortgage called subject to. So everyone buys a house, they get a new loan, and they pay off the old loan. Then they live in that house for 5 years in Tel Aviv and sell that house, pay off the loan, and get a new loan and buy a new house. What's happened? The banks moved a lot of paper, made a lot of loans, got a lot of fees, made a lot of money.
Yeah.
So here's what he did. He said a lady next to him had a house. Her husband left her. Motivation. She said, my husband left me. We had 2 incomes. Now I have 1. He left me, took all the money. I can't pay the bank. They're going to take my house. The house is worth in Nashville that time could be $5 million, could be $50,000, could be a number's a number. It's just to learn. The house was worth about $50,000. The loan was about $30,000. She said, I need $3,000 so I can move, and I'm going to lose my house. So he said, I've got an idea. Sign the house over to me with a lawyer legally. The minute you have a title to the house, a car, and I sign it to Aura, to you, or to Mr. Binion, my mentor, he owns the house. Ownership and debt are 2 different things. Mm-hmm. She signed the house to him. He gave her $3,000 so she could buy a U-Haul and move in with her mother. And he started making the house payments. The bank loan was like 15 years, $30-something thousand, $300 a month. He started paying the $300 a month. He fixed the house up. He sold it 4 months later, paid the bank off, and made no money because he didn't know what to do. He didn't have a system.
But he bought a he bought a $50,000 house for the loan of $30,000, and he didn't make any money.
For about $35,000, he put the loan was like $32,000. He put like $3,000 or $4,000. I don't remember exactly, but he messed up. He didn't make any money. He sold it for like $39,000, and by the time he did the repairs and costs, he made no money. But the point was, he bought a house taking over the loan or mortgage. And he did it about 90 times with 90 properties. He didn't get a new loan. He didn't pay cash. They would sign the house or building to him, and he'd start making the payments, and he'd rent it. So I've done that. Now you got to make money. How can I make money? So if the payment's $500 a month, you have to rent it for $1,000 a month. If you buy the house for $40,000, you better pay for sell for $60,000 to pay the loan and make money. And what's interesting in America, for the lawyers out there, since 1987, most loans say, if not all loans say, if you borrow the money from this bank or this mortgage company and you sell the house, you have to pay us off. It's called an acceleration clause. It says normally you have 20 years to pay us or 10 years, but every mortgage since 1987 has an acceleration clause, like go fast. Zzz. And it says, if you sell the house and we find out, we're going to call you or send you a letter and say you have 30 days to pay us off. If not, we can take the house. Except for one thing. In America, everyone does this and the banks don't care. As long as you make the payment.
Yeah.
And it's actually not illegal. It's not illegal. It's not against the law. Everybody does it who knows how to do it. I've done it 100 times, no problem. My mentor did it 90 times. Now, if you have a loan and don't pay the loan, you have problems. If you have a house,
the person who's the loan is the person who's the loan is under. They have the problem. Yeah, that's a huge.
Wait a minute. Let's get there. That's what you think. But for everything, there's a solution. So the lady's saying, wait a minute, Ray, to my mentor. If you don't pay the loan or you paid a day late, my credit, the loan's in my name, my number, my credit, I'll have the problem. So there's a problem of faith. But if I tell the owner, listen, I'll make the payment to the bank, don't you worry. She'll how do I know you make the payment? But if I say, I'll send you the $300 to the owner, how do I know she'll make the payment? So we don't trust anybody. There's a risk. You're right. So how do we solve it? The solution is third party. So we use escrow.com. So the lawyer writes a contract, everything in writing, and says Robert has to pay by the 1st of the month because it's late on the 5th. So what I do is I pay my $300, $500, $5,000 a month because I've done this on apartments, hotels, land, commercial, big property, condos in South Beach. Take over the note. I send it to escrow.com, escrow.com. On the 30th, they get it.
Yeah.
And on the 30th, they send it to Bank of America, Bank Hoppeline, Wells Fargo. Now, if and they send a receipt to the owner. They send a receipt to everybody. Now, if the lady doesn't get a receipt saying that Robert paid the loan on the 30th or the 1st, what's she going to do? She's going to call me, say, Robert, you didn't make the payment. I said, well, I went to Vegas. I had a bad trip. I can't make the payment. Cancel, cancel, cancel. Rebitol. So what does she do? With her agreement, she'll make the payment, protect her credit, take the house back, and I'm gone. Everything in writing. So he's third-party payer, so the people don't trust. I've been doing this for 17 years, never had a problem. My mentor did it for 20 years, never had a problem. People always think of the problems instead of making money. Correct? So there's always ways to protect yourself. So
All right.
The court actually in America said that it's not even illegal. We're not even going to enforce the agreement. We don't care who makes the payment. As long as the bank's getting paid, the bank shouldn't complain. So it's actually, we have court decisions where it's no problem to do it. So a lot of our students and me have bought property, put a little down payment, and just start making the payment. Now, not everyone's going to do that, but it's very common. It's called subject to. We do it all the time. How's that for a pretty creative way?
That is incredibly creative. I'll admit I would not have thought of it.
Right. And again, most of you wouldn't do it, but we work with highly motivated sellers who have a problem.
Actually, there is a question here on how to find real estate deals below their market price and motivated sellers.
So if you go down to the sheet below, we have 53 ways to find great deals in real estate. They're right there. You just go up a little bit. Yeah. So there's people called wholesalers like me and like a lot of my students who spend a lot of money and time looking for highly motivated sellers. We use a software called PropStream, and I can go to any city and find people that are divorced, empty home, in foreclosure, can't pay their taxes, landlords who are old and tired, homes with a lot of value in them, homes that need work. And the computer will give me, that's another thing about America, everything's public. So the owner's name is public, their address is public. So we send them a letter, give them a phone call and say, hey, Billy, I'm an investor, I'm always honest. I understand your house has been empty for a year. You hadn't paid your property taxes. I'd like to help you. What's your situation? A lot of people don't want help. So if I do enough of those calls, I can get houses below market, which is a win-win situation. So we look for highly motivated sellers. Matter of fact, one of the systems of the many we teach are called triple motivation. So I got 4 houses in Melbourne, Florida on the beach where everyone in Florida said the market's so hot, you'll never get a deal in Florida anymore. You're crazy. We got him 60 cents on the dollar. This guy inherited 4 beautiful properties from his father. And he had kind of a nervous breakdown. It's sad. And the house has been sitting there for 8 years. They're empty. They're really ugly. They need work. One is worth $1.5 million. We're buying it for $720,000. He couldn't pay the loan. He couldn't pay the taxes. He's losing the houses. So if he doesn't pay it in 6 weeks, he loses and gets zero and has legal problems. So we're paying off all his debt. He likes us, and we're going to fix the houses and make money. And he saved his credit and will make some money, not as much as he could have if he would have taken care of the houses. How do we find him? PropStream, out-of-state owner, inheritance, hadn't paid their property taxes, hadn't paid their bank loan. And he loves us. We're saving him.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Because it's a win-win situation.
But most people won't do that. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. It's really sad. He's very delicate. is in a really sad situation. But, you know, we're helping him some. He's not in a position to pay his bills and fix the house, or else he would have.
I understand.
And a lot of people look at the house.
It doesn't sound easy. I'm gonna go ahead and be really honest here. It doesn't sound like something I would like to do either. Well, but I know I don't want to do real estate entrepreneur. I'm really happy being a passive investor, putting in the money, getting the bank loans, and just letting the rent come in and wait it out.
Yeah.
But
that's
you know, people. What?
No, I love what you said, because I love you're very smart. About 20-30% of our students come into our community and say, listen, I'm busy. I'm a doctor, a lawyer. I'm passive. I don't want to go call all these people. But I've got a little bit of money. I got a little credit. I know some people with money. I'll put the money in, let all these other students do all the work, and win-win. I'll be the bank. And literally 20-30% of our students come in, learn our system, how to protect their investment, and do that. So I love your attitude. I do both. I put the money in the deal sometimes, and I still like to call and like to, you know, be busy. So I still do it.
Oh,
call me crazy.
That's incredible.
But
there's I probably will, but for different reasons.
Yeah. So those are 5 or 6 ways, step by step.
Wholesale, because I want to go over all the 11 ways that we didn't talk about, and
we could.
So we deliver what we promised. Yeah.
Sure. And the good news is we can, but you need to pick 1 or 2. Like, nobody does all 11. It's too much. But here we go. So wholesale, I'll explain it. If you don't understand it, relax. 90% of investors don't understand this. Even the ones making millions have never done it. You put a property under contract for 30 days in America, and that's below market. You have 30 days to close. In Israel, it's a little faster than that. Before you have to close it, you find someone that'll pay you more. So, for instance, I've already got buyers on this 1 point whatever property in Melbourne that will say, I'll give you $100,000 above what you're paying, because you can still make $500,000-$600,000. So I have it under contract. I don't own it. I haven't bought it. I haven't borrowed the money. I haven't fixed it. I don't own it. Before I have to close on it, I find a buyer. They send the money to the lawyer. The lawyer sends the money to the original buyer, and I get the difference. I make a profit. So I do a lot of wholesaling. 60% of commercial properties in America are wholesale. Somebody puts a big land under contract for $1 million, has 3 months to close. They sell it for $1.2 million to a developer, to a bank, to a Home Depot, and they make $200,000 for putting the deal together, for putting it under contract, for finding the good deal. So you don't have any money. You're not buying it. You're not borrowing it. If you do it right, you have very little risk. You get paid for finding good deals. We have students in our program who are wholesaling 50, 100 deals a year. They're not realtors. They're making between net 5 and 15%.
It sounds like kind of a job of a realtor, though, because you're basically connecting between a great deal and to a buyer.
You're right. The difference is
you do it with a mindset of an investor, not a realtor.
You made a beautiful description of it. A realtor works on commission. We put it under contract and sell it, and we make a profit. Just like trading options in stocks. You have the option to buy the stock, you sell it, or the people trading in Bitcoin, they have an option to buy this Bitcoin and they sell it for that, and they're just making money. So you're right, putting people together. So we have people that have no money, no credit, but they're willing to work, and they find good deals and wholesale them to make lots of money. And then eventually they start buying and fixing and buying and renting. But that's another way. Credit, credit's credit. I use credit cards to buy houses, not my money. I use bank loans to buy houses, not my money. I use mortgage loans to buy my money, not my money. So that's number 5, banks and mortgages. We talk about money partners. 8. Yep.
Gap funding.
So gap funding is kind of 7 and 9 are related combinations. So a hard money lender will give me 70, 80%, but I don't have the 20% that I need to close. I don't have a deposit. So I have to find the gap, the missing hole, the part.
That's also called mezzanine loans, no?
Could be. So I go to an investor or a relative or a friend that has $20,000 for the deposit, and they'll say, well, you got the 70%, 80% hard money loan or the bank loan. You need the $30,000 deposit. I'll put it in, but I want half the deal. I want 30% of the deal. I want X. I want a good return. So they're putting in the gap, but I still have no money in it. Now, this is kind of crazy. Do you have a credit card? Do you have a Visa, MasterCard, American Express?
Yeah, I got a few. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have 43 cards. I started with 0. I had no credit. So my cards in America, they give you 0 interest for like 6 months sometimes, or very low interest. I know Israel's a little different. So a lot of times the combo, the credit card, the gap can be my credit card for the deposit. And they give us little checks. We get a cash advance. Sometimes they charge a little bit, but it doesn't matter. If you're making 20, 30% on a real estate deal, so what? You're paying 5% interest or 4% or 10%. You're still making money. So one other quick one, last one, and you'll understand this. It's actually one of my favorites right now, Lease Option.
All right.
So I can explain it in 2 minutes. And then I think we've done almost our 11.
Yeah.
Almost. Create a note and sell it. So lease option. Everybody forget about real estate for a minute. I'm going to talk about cars to teach you lease option. You can make a fortune with this in real estate. Forget about real estate. Relax. Take a breath.
Imagine
smile.
you're at the pool with you.
Yeah. Let's talk about cars. 50 years ago in Israel or America, when your Abba, Ima, Babushka wanted to buy a car, there was only one way, cash. He bought a Cadillac, a Chevrolet for $8,000 cash. That was it. About 50 years ago, so he said, I got a great idea. Let's finance the cars and make more money. So you put 20, 30% deposit. You pay the car loan for 5 years at 10%. And the car owner, the companies make more money financing the cars. Now in Israel and in America, about 50, 60% of luxury cars are lease optioned. So in America, there's a Toyota. So instead of buying the Toyota for $50,000 or 150,000 shekels, you put $1,000 down, you pay $400 a month, you lease it for 3 years. And at the end of the lease, you have the option to buy it. And they have a number they came up with. I don't know how they come up with a number. It's an algorithm. They said the car is worth 40 now. You pay on it for 3 years. In 3 years, you lease it. If you don't like it, you give us the car back. But you have the option, the right to buy it for $30,000. So you drive it for 3 years. You go to the internet. You have the right to buy it for 30. You see the car's worth 20. What do? You give it back. You go to lease option another car. Now, if you have the lease option, buy it for 30 and the car's worth 40, which it might be now because of the shortage of cars, I know what I would do. I would wholesale it. I would find Shlomo to give me $38,000. I'd give 30 to Toyota, and I'd put 8,000 in my pocket. You have the legal option right to buy it for 30. So take out the word car and put house. You lease a house for 3 years or 5 years for $1,000 a month, $10,000 a month, and you have the option, the right to buy it a little bit below market. Now, in 3 years, anytime during that time, if the market goes up, you could sell it and make money, or you can live in it. It's your choice. You control it. If the market goes down in 3 years and your option's for $100,000, the house is worth 80, you don't want to buy it. You throw the house back. You have a lease. You've lost nothing.
Who gives you that option? The owners? It's something that you do with the lawyer of the owners. Okay.
I do with houses all the time. Mm-hmm. And you're not getting a mortgage. You're not borrowing money. You're not using credit, but you control property. I do a lot with Airbnb, vacation property. See, everyone in Israel and America wants to buy everything. I want to buy a beach house. Here's $400,000. I bought a beach house. Well, your money's sitting there doing nothing. I lease option that $400,000 beach home for $300,000. I Airbnb it every weekend and I make $5,000 a month. And the market in Miami went way up, so I sold it and made a lot of money, which is really stupid because now it's worth more. So instead of getting a mortgage, you get a 3 to 5 year lease and option to buy it. Now everyone in Israel is saying, Robert,
nobody's going to give me that option.
No one in Israel will do this because I would never do it. My students have done it in Israel. Some properties, not a lot, are lease option. In America, the same thing. Everyone says no one's going to do that because the realtors can't make money. But I go direct to owners, and I'll tell you something. When the pandemic hit, Project X, a lot of us made more money during the pandemic when it started than ever. There are a lot of Airbnbs where they canceled all the contracts in Colombia and Miami. and the Airbnb people were in trouble. So we lease option a lot of those properties from and Airbnb them to nurses and doctors and locals and made a lot of money. So lease option is a great tool to buy property without putting money down, without using your credit, to live in it or to invest in it. Lease with an option to buy. You don't have to buy it. But again, it's numbers. We always get a nice deal. So I love lease option.
That sounds great. Batya is saying no chance in Israel. Well, Robert has students that did it in Israel.
We've done it. I've had students that have done it. Not everyone thinks like you. It's not easy, not common.
If you find the right seller that makes sense to it, then I suppose it is possible.
Yeah. And by the way, in commercial property, very expensive. It's much more common. By the way, no one did it in cars 30 years ago, and now everybody does it. So you could create a whole industry here.
John is asking, how can we learn the system? And actually, there is a course that you did. That's, I've got to say, I've looked over the materials. It's incredibly cheap. You're really underpricing yourself for a person that likes to make money. And it's got like a lot of incredible materials teaching about real estate, some of the stuff we've covered here, and a lot more. Plus 2 days of training with your mentors and your team. Yeah, so you get all the materials plus the 2 days mentoring. I'm putting the stuff down. It's for less than 500 shekels, and I hope you don't get mad, but Gilad gave me a 20% discount for my followers, so they're getting it for less than 400 shekels.
That's great. And again, I was told if you learn something in 50 minutes, spend tens of hours, 20s of hours, and then the live training. And I'll be there for the live training too. We'll have the Israeli mentors. It'll be in Ivrit and Anglit. So we do a lot in Hebrew too. So we have like 14 Israeli mentors who all been to the program who will teach us in Hebrew and English. We'll do a little English for me. Thank you. This is a little fast teaching, but if you like this, we'll be together for days and hours, and it'll really show you step by step how to do that. That's a great deal. I didn't know they're offering that, so that's nice.
No, it's incredible. I looked over the stuff and I was like, are they for real? Because to get like this entire course, you could sell it for thousands of shekels easily, and 2 days of training of like actually implementing the materials. Because what you say, I've got to say, I've learned this 11 ways. It makes sense, but I've seen it. How do I do it? What am I going to do? And I know we have this writing down of ways to find great deals and everything, but if you have a mentor that actually works with you and says, okay, let's get into this website. Let's start making the phone calls. All right, what did we learn from this phone call? And how can we improve it for next time? And you have the people doing it with you. That's actually implementing the materials, not just learning that, oh my God, I can do lease option. Cool. That actually doing it, because knowledge means nothing without actually implementing it.
And in that live training that's included, we'll actually do that with the students. We'll make calls, we'll look at deals, we'll raise money, specifics. This is, I can't do it all in an hour. I wish I could. So
I wish you could too. I'm pretty sure everybody here would wish that as well. But maybe we'll go over some of because we promised them 11 ways, and you've actually written down here 25, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's pick something that sounds interesting.
You pick.
I'm going to pick something that I don't know. Life insurance policy. That sounds interesting.
Yeah. So all life insurance policies have what's called cash advance. And, so a lot of people have life insurance and you can actually borrow money against it. It's legal. And to me, a loan is a loan. Whether you're borrowing money from yourself, if you're using cash, you're borrowing money from yourself. If you borrow money from a bank, it's a bank loan. If you borrow money from a credit card, it's a bank loan. If you borrow money from a life insurance policy for real estate, it's a loan. So to me, a loan is a loan is a loan. And I want to say that again, if you're using cash, you're borrowing money from yourself. It's not free. You're using your cash. So if you have a life insurance policy for a while, some life insurance policies have a cash value and you can borrow against it. And the interest rates are very low. You're basically borrowing your money. The life insurance is still there. We take that money from the life insurance and buy a house and make a 10, 12, 9, 15% return. And if the life insurance loan is 3%, you're making good money. So not a very common way. You picked a kind of obscure, but it does work. I've done it.
Oh, because I figured in Israel you have to buy life insurance in order to buy a house. To get a mortgage.
Right.
So you buy one house, you get a mortgage, and you can refinance it against your life insurance.
So there's different types of life insurance. Some life insurance, not all, has a cash value, and you can borrow that money out. You can make a loan against your life insurance.
That's really interesting. I'll look into that.
I don't know if you can sell your life insurance too, but there's companies that buy it. But that's a whole nother. That's a possibility too. So,
I'd rather live and not have people making money off my death.
Exactly. But it's out there. To me, it's business, not life or death.
Yeah, but I don't want to give anybody interest to shoot me.
So and also, I'll pick another one since you were up there. I like the one you picked. There's pension plans, and we have a lot of it. Except in America, we have a lot of Israelis who have these pension plans, and you can borrow money out of it at a very low rate. I think it's very easy at like 50,000 shekels or dollars. We have the same thing in America. Most Americans have a retirement plan, pension plan, and they don't know they can borrow money out sometimes for education, sometimes, of course, for lending, for buying a house, for making investments, and they don't know that they can do that. We tell them,
in the States, you can do IRA and buy real estate with your pension. It's incredible.
Yeah, but in Israel, you get a loan against it. And a lot of Israelis take that pension loan.
Up to 30% of your pension.
And they put it down payment on a house. Their pension's still growing, and they're making money on the house. So they're double, happy hour, 2 for 1, double profiting. So that's why. And then a real estate equity. A lot of people have a house that's worth $1 million shekels in Israel. That $1 million shekels isn't making any money. So you go get a real estate loan. Go get a loan on it. Buy 3 more houses in St. Louis, or Indianapolis, or Nashville, or Memphis, wherever you want to buy. Because your money, if it's just sitting there, it's not making any money. The equity in your house and your business is not making you money. It's just sitting there.
What is government grants or federal state? I mean, the country is going to pay me to buy real estate, because that's something I'd be interested in.
Absolutely. So we have a lot of government grants here. I know Israel too has a lot of government money. We affiliate with nonprofits. There's so many grants out there. For instance, in my low-income housing, the government gives me money to put better insulation, better air conditioning, better roofs. They pay for this, give you money. The government's, and I'm sorry, I love government. They spend a lot of money, they do a lot of good things, and they waste a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
So you have no idea.
Agree with that.
Huh? So
we definitely agree on that. Yeah.
If you buy historical properties, they have money if you buy low-income properties. The hotel we just bought in Puerto Rico, which makes no sense to me, they're giving us $400,000 for free to fix it. I don't know why, but they're doing it. The U.S. government has given out so much money lately. Then there's nonprofit money. It's a little bit special area. So I like to help people and make money. I like to be of service. So we have a lot of houses for special needs people. The government gives us money. We have houses that I affiliate with a nonprofit for battered women. I do a lot of charity stuff. They give us money. Local, city government, state government, and federal government. In America, you have 3 governments that have money that give it for certain things. And then we have a Section 8 program where the government pays the rent for people. And I get a direct deposit on the first of the month, and they just pay the rent for all these under low-income people. So as a landlord, it's good for them. It's good for me. Yeah. So there's just all kinds of programs, federal, state, local government grants.
That looks incredible. And I know we've already,
during the pandemic, the government, if you had an LLC, even if you weren't a U.S. citizen, they would just send you money. Crazy.
Yeah. Wait, you have no idea. You just had an LLC without being a U.S. citizen that send you money?
Yes. I don't know the laws or rules. Please talk to your own lawyer. But I'm telling you, the last 3 years, they sent so much money to people. The SBA, the PPM, the PP this, insane. But people wait.
I'll agree with that.
They don't want to get started. There's all these opportunities besides just the regular real estate money.
Mm-hmm. So I already feel like we've taken a lot of your time, and we really do appreciate that. I would really love to get at least one more example of a great rent deal, or how to find places that's a creative way to find below market price deal, especially when we're here and the States is over there.
You know, most Israelis and foreigners call a realtor, and 99% of realtors don't work with investors. Some do. Some realtors are amazing, of course. 99% of my deals are not from realtors. We have 53 ways. My 3 favorite ways are wholesalers. So you go to myhousedeals.com, Craigslist, look up wholesalers. These are people that spend a lot of time and money doing exactly what you said you don't want to do. They're calling, sending postcards, writing letters, and they put a property under contract, and they make money, but they sell it to you below market. I get 90% of my deals from wholesalers. I'm a wholesaler. Number 2, I'll go down to number 4, calling for rent ads. 80% of the landlords in America, 70%, don't know what they're doing. They've had no system, no training. We train people to manage property. It's hard. It's different than Israel. Some of them are older landlords who bought a property 20 years ago for $100,000 in Miami. Now it's worth $1 million. They're investors, and we call the rent ads. They want to rent it for $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month. And I call them. I do this every week, every 2 weeks. And I say, I'm calling on your rent ad. They're like, you want to rent the property? I said, nope. I'm an investor. I want to buy it. They're like, what? And you'll love this, or they say, it's not for sale. Everybody always says that. I don't want to sell my property. And the next question is, I don't want to sell it, but how much would you give me?
That sounds like such an Israeli thing to say.
A Yiddish cup, whatever. And they say, you know, it's worth $1 million. They're not dumb. I say, well, I'm an investor. I need to buy it below market. By the way, get out of your head into their head. We're looking for motivated sellers. Number 1, the house is empty. Number 2, not in Israel, in America. Half the renters tore it up, left it in bad shape, didn't pay the rent, had problems. Number 3, the landlord doesn't know how to fix it, doesn't know how to screen the tenants. They're tired. Some of them, if you call enough, will sell below market. Some will sell it owner financing. Some will sell it subject to. And in our script, everything we have is a script, a checklist to make it easy for people. You'll see that in the courses.
Wow, get them. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's you know, we've made all the mistakes for you. One of the questions we ask is, have any other investors called you to buy your property? And they're like, no. So that's a lake, a pond that we're fishing in that nobody's fishing in. If you go on the MLS with a realtor, everybody's looking there. I like to go where not many people are looking. And every week or two, when I call 30 or 50 for rent ads, most don't pick up, most don't talk to you. It's a numbers game. I get a deal. And what's what deal worth? 20, 30% below market, you know, 20% of $400,000. That's $80,000 or cash flow or rent. So all you gotta do is find one deal. I know this is morbid. I call it, we have our name at funeral parlors. Somebody dies, the grandmother, the kids are all over the world now. They can't even come to the funeral now. And the house hasn't been fixed in 15 years. And they'll recommend us. And sometimes we help the family buy it below market. There's a website called For Sale by Owner where the owners don't want to use realtors and they'll sell directly to you. We get good deals from there sometimes. Insurance. In Tennessee, we just had lots of tornadoes. So we call the insurance adjusters and owners, and they sell the properties for way below market because the insurance companies gave a big check. So that's one of my things my mentor specialized in. So there's all kinds of niches to find really good deals, even in today's super hot markets. Last thing I want to say on that, if you call 10 realtors in Miami or Nashville, they're going to say you cannot find a deal. The market's too hot. Market's very hot right now. But again, they're not doing this. So be careful who you talk to, where you get your advice from.
Yeah, that sounds you want to get it from somebody that knows how to get deals, not just somebody that knows how to sell real estate.
Yeah, people who don't do this say you can't do it because they're not doing it, just like going to Israel or, you know, coming to Colombia.
Well, Israel is very dangerous and very scary, but that's kind of part of its charm, I suppose.
I've been there since I've been 16 and never had a problem other than people want to get married or do business.
You've been proposed to in Israel?
Of course.
Well, Israeli women are great, so I don't think you could have done so bad.
The best. Smart, beautiful, and most can handle a weapon. Amazing.
That's true. Robert, I want to thank you so much for your time. I know personally I've learned a lot, and I really, really do appreciate that. And you guys,
thanks for having me. Congratulations to all of you for being here, to want to learn, to grow. That's the most important. I'm learning every day. Things change every day. And I look forward to seeing you in the classes. I will be in Israel in person as soon as I'm able to. If not, we'll be digital. But I'm involved in all of it. Love it. We have an amazing community. So I'm really looking forward to getting to meet them, the mentors, and my partners, Gilad is and Reed, amazing. So thanks for having me.
It's been a true pleasure. And you guys, if you want to learn more, seriously, this deal that I just sent right now in the comments, and you'll see it. It's incredible. I've rarely seen. We're talking here. It's like ways to find great deals. They're selling it incredibly below market price. So you want to go ahead and go in on that, because 2 days with the mentors is already worth more than that, and you get a course that's goes way into more details than everything we just covered here. So I think that's.
I tell people,
really
you just buy your own home, and a lot of this does work in Israel. It'll help you out a lot with funding, getting a good deal. Some people think they can't buy a house, whether for themselves or investing. It's just not true. Information's power. So thank you for helping make some people more powerful today.
Thank you for helping make the people more powerful as well.
Thanks. And as we
thank
say,
you, everybody.
As we say in Nashville, litorot y'all. Hope to see you soon. And most importantly, a healthy, happy American regular New Year to you. And may you and your family be healthy and happy, and a lot of prosperity, abundance, less stress this year, more joy for all of you and your family. So I look forward to seeing you in Israel soon, or come to Colombia.
That sounds better. Have a good night, everybody, and thanks a lot, Robert.
Laila tov, litorot.